Let's talk about the most boring value you cannot afford to ignore. Whether you're dating, hiring, looking for new friends, the first thing you need to test for is integrity. I know. Integrity reeks of boring, blah, blah, bland. And it is definitely not trendy in an era where everything is up for renegotiation, regardless of the agreements in place. And we are led to believe that we are losers if we are not taking advantage of our counterpart. So thank you for being here. My name is Peggy van der Plas, and today we're talking about a topic I am passionate about. Yes, it's integrity. I really feel, integrity is very important for me, especially now. And I guess it's probably because I feel that, we are reaching absolute moral bankruptcy. And I mean, at least in North America, I don't know so much about other parts of the world at this point. So why, despite the lack of excitement linked with integrity, do I recommend starting here? Well, it is very simple. If you hire for smart, competent, ambitious, so on, but you overlook integrity, well, you might end up with an extremely skilled individual with zero moral compass, and that will cause tremendous damage to your organization. Same thing with dating. Great, you found the one in a zillion individual who fits your 39 main criteria and 71 minor expectations. But again, you didn't pressure test for integrity. Well, now you likely have in your hand a dirty bomb that will kill everything in its wake, starting with you. Same with friends, same with service providers, and same with clients and employees. I have worked with clients and employers with very, very low integrity. And this is not something I recommend, even if on paper, 1,000,000 girls would kill for this job. I mean, who wants to be taken for a ride by an unscrupulous employee, boss, client, date, or friend? Not me, definitely, and I assume not you. So it is difficult to test for integrity because first, yes, it is sexier to test for fun or competence, depending on the circumstances, obviously, unless you're testing for competence in your dating, which might be the case. But second, it's also tough to test for integrity because how do you even test for it? So let's start with, and maybe you listened to my last podcast on what type of cars your friends and colleagues would be. That's a good start because you could refer to the Italian antique car, because that's a great way to understand that there is more than meet the eye, and that fun without integrity or competence without honesty is not the way to go. So maybe you want to have a quick refresh here. But you also want to keep in mind that someone can absolutely be fun and principled or competent and honest. It is not a trade-off. It is not mutually exclusive. It's just a criterion that we tend to overlook, and that is at our own peril. So I have myself been caught more than once, I can tell you that, with friends, with colleagues, with bosses, with clients, with employees, and also with family members, yes, and some are very close to me, who were unprincipled, and absolutely nothing good has ever come from them. There is always a scheme somewhere, and if you have not yet been on the receiving end of someone with low integrity, well, just wait. Trust me, your turn will come. People who have low integrity with other people, eventually they will have low integrity with you. It's a rule. So, and the worst thing is that we tend to really overlook the signs, even when our internal alarms bell are blaring. we tend to find excuses. Oh, come on, it was just a small omission. I'm sure they didn't do it on purpose. Of course, they use corporate resources for their own benefit, but everyone is doing it. Yes, they do cheat on their spouse, but in business, they're very honest. Yeah, they canceled on me again at the last minute, but they're very busy. Nothing to do with using me only when they need me. And so on. I'm pretty sure that some of these excuses, if not all of them, are quite familiar to you. So how to pressure test? And the goal here, let's be honest, is not to become an integrity zealot. And anyone who has ever lacked honesty. I mean, let's be honest, again, we all have at some point lacked honesty. We've all been this person in these very specific circumstances. And I am absolutely guilty of white lies to make people happy when anyway, saying what I really think would not make a iota of difference, such as great haircut, I don't really see how we can live in society without this type of comments, let's be honest. But again, integrity is not about perfection, it's about patterns. And this is where, like the mosaic theory comes in. One tile means nothing, two tiles still noise, but when the same tiles keep appearing, omission here, distortion there, selective memory everywhere, a picture starts to emerge. And when someone is a frequent flyer in dishonest behaviors, the probability that they lack integrity at large, that is becoming pretty high. So what are my integrity alarm triggers? So the first thing is not reliable. Because reliability, I look at it as integrity's quiet cousin, if you want. Someone who repeatedly shows up late, cancels last minute, forgets, constantly renegotiates commitments is not just disorganized. They are signaling that their convenience outranks your time. Life happens, emergencies happen, patterns matter. When unreliability becomes chronic, it usually masks something deeper, avoidance, opportunism, or a belief that rules apply to others but not to them. And trust erodes very quietly here. It's not with a bang, but with 1,000 small disappointments. The second test and the second alarm is lying, including the small ones. And lies are rarely isolated events. They tend to be rehearsals. So small lies, they're often defended as harmless, smoothing edges, protecting feelings, keeping things simple. But over time, they kind of normalize distortion as a problem-solving tool. And what worries me the most is not the lie by itself, but the ease with which it is delivered. Zero discomfort, zero hesitation, zero accountability. That I have to say that really make me climb up the walls. So if lying is someone's default shortcut, eventually it will be used when the stakes are high and the consequences very damaging. The third trigger is gossip or constantly criticizing others. So this one is, I would say, widely underestimated. People who consistently gossip, trash others, share confidential information under the guise of bonding, are telling you exactly how they operate. Listen, please. And guess what? You are not special. You are just the current audience. Today they're saying that to you, tomorrow they're saying that to someone else about you. So gossip masquerades as intimacy, but it is really a breach of trust dressed up as entertainment. Keep that in mind. So if someone is very comfortable dismantling others when they are not in the room, rest assured, you will eventually be the person who's not in the room. The fourth trigger and the last trigger for me is cheating and stealing. whether it's the expenses reports, the spouse, the systems, the rules. Pick your poison. You know, there are so many opportunities to be cheating and stealing. And for me, this is the clearest signal, but often the one that is the most rationalized. Everyone inflates expenses. It's just corporate money. It's personal. It's not professional. But, you know, integrity does not compartmentalize very well. If someone cheats where they believe the cost is low or the risk manageable, they are demonstrating a willingness to cross lines when it suits them. The context may change, but the logic doesn't. You know, if someone makes peace with theft, financial, emotional, ethical, they have already answered the hardest questions. Is it acceptable if I get away with it? So what do we want to talk about with integrity? It's the challenges, and that is the very inconvenient truth. Choosing integrity, it is not a shortcut. This is actually very often the opposite. When you display high integrity, difficult decisions and discussions are ahead of you. You will have to say no when yes would be easier. You will have to walk away when staying might be way more lucrative. You will have to disappoint people who expected flexibility when you draw firm lines. You will likely not be the most popular person on the block. You know, integrity as a way of making people uncomfortable, especially those who benefit from ambiguity, shortcuts, selective ethics. You may be labeled, you know, rigid, difficult, naive, not commercial enough. But yes, it requires tremendous resilience and fortitude to watch others ignore integrity, move faster, and also seemingly do better, at least for a while. But here is the part that rarely gets discussed. Speed without integrity often comes with hidden debt, reputational debt, emotional debt, organizational debt. Eventually, someone pays. At least I hope. And it's just that it's very rarely visible at the beginning. So integrity, it's different. It compounds slowly, quietly, and I would say almost boringly, until one day you realize that the people you trust, the work you are proud of, and the life you can stand behind all share one common denominator. You didn't cut corners when it would have been easier to do so. And that is definitely not boring. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that new edition. That's a topic that is dear to my heart, and I hope it's going to make you think a bit more as well about who you let in your life, who you're working with, maybe some of your practices sometimes. So thank you again for being there, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.